Welcome to your astrology and spirituality overview for Friday the 15th of January. Thank you so much for joining us. Today we are using the Gaia Mother Earth Oracle cards. But first, Patrick, why don't you tell us about the astrology for today?
Oh, okay. So the moon, by midday, Universal Central Time, is in Aquarius later on. But we do have Jupiter also in Aquarius in a right angle with Uranus, the modern ruler, the higher octave ruler of Aquarius, in Taurus in its fall, so not its best location. Jupiter's about growth, Uranus is about change. Maybe if things aren't changing at the pace we want, we can feel a sense of frustration. And because Mars and Saturn are still in a right angle, we are seeing this kind of big chasms of different power. We have got turbulence all over the place. And when Jupiter and Saturn do move into a new sign together, often we have turbulence. And of course it was also a change of the elements as well. So we've moved into the element of air. So that's very much about discussion. So a lot of ideas, a lot of people venting. And then we've got a lot of people resisting because of the stubbornness, if you like, of Mars in Taurus, which is more material. It's more really wanting to defend what they know. So it's very traditional values against the more progressive values. So some very big chasms in the way different people see things at the moment, and generally a limitation on freedom. And some people are very concerned about that. Some people would adhere to what they feel are sensible rules and regulations because of the toll of COVID becoming so high. But we've got different counterpoints, views and attitudes. There's just so many people who are wanting to have their say. And as I predicted in my year 2021 overview forecast, I do think the first 7 months of this year will see a lot of civil disputes, a lot of public disorder potentially, because people are feeling so frustrated. I mean, we went to get some petrol from the supermarket today, and I just dropped the car in front of this other car, and this guy was straight into, well, you nearly took the front wing off my car, and blah, 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 and abusive. We went to the municipal tip about 8 weeks ago, and someone called me an English, well, I won't tell you the word, but you might be able to work it out on Tuesday or Thursday. But he called me English, even though I'm in England. So that was a new one. So cheers, mate. Amongst many other abusive names, because people seem to be boiling with rage and frustration. And I think it's a lot to do with the fact people don't feel very empowered. There's a lot of things get decided by technology or technology groups. And yes, it's very exciting to get things quickly and in funky packaging, and we can play with them straight away. But there is a kind of disconnect. We don't have human contact very much. And I don't feel that people are so good at listening to one another's viewpoints as they used to be years ago. And then acknowledging, well, I hear where you're coming from, but this is how I see it. And having that kind of interchange. Yeah. It's more sort of very polarised, fractious. And that fractious, polarised energy, unfortunately, I think is going to be to the fore again today.
Right. I mean, I saw a really interesting meme, I think it was yesterday, and it said, there is freedom of speech, but then there isn't freedom of repercussions. And the example this person gave is, say you work in a department store or, anywhere in retail. I've worked in retail. Sometimes you will get a customer that is not very nice. You might want to say to them in your mind, a number of things.
And the chap at the municipal tip?
Like the chap at the tip. You can say that. You have the freedom to say that.
I knew it was in that raw side of a nature.
You have the freedom to say that. But there is a repercussion to it. You'll be sacked because you can't speak to customers that way.
But also it's how you feel about yourself, isn't it?
But people going on about, we haven't got freedom of speech. Well, you can say what you want, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to get a repercussion from what you say, either taken down off social media, either, told off by the police for hate speech, whatever it may be, because there's a consequence to that freedom.
I think a lot of the conspiracy theories that are going around at the moment Try living in Hong Kong. Seriously, we watch Channel 4 News here, which is, a much more serious news channel, and they do about an hour each evening. And we've been following the Hong Kong situation for about 2 years. And some astrologers have been saying that once Jupiter and Saturn move into Aquarius, we're going to see big changes in China, big changes in Russia. And I've been saying to Elisa all along, they are not going to give up that power easily. Instead, what they did is taken down the umbrella protests that we've seen in Hong Kong. All those people are being rounded up. They introduced a new bill. That's a limitation of freedom of speech. And you get lots of people on Facebook, particularly in America and Britain, who think there's some massive conspiracy against having freedom of speech. But if you are abusive and you do get Twitter taken down, or I read earlier today that Trump has had his YouTube channel taken down, or if you do incite violence, well, yes, like Elisa says, you can do it.
No one's going to stop you.
But there are consequences. So freedom comes with responsibility. That's the old saying that I was brought up with. But I think we need to envision what it's like. There's an awful lot of people, doctors in Russia and also China, who've been involved in COVID research or COVID care, who keep seeming to fall out of windows. Why would that be? Why is the leader of the opposition in Russia, why has he been poisoned twice now by Novichok? There's a reason for that. It's power. So that's what people who are very quick to see darkness and shadows around the corner need to be conscious of. Yes, there probably are things. We know with the Guantanamo custody situation that flights did go through British airspace that shouldn't have done. So you will get stuff like that. Well, states will work at a more sinister level. But in a general sense, there's much greater freedom of speech than probably there's ever been. What a problem is there's probably less fact-checking than ever. So that's the problem. That's the big problem. And that stirs people up. It winds people up. So what cards?
So yeah, let's bring it down to now Mother Earth. We've had that heavy, ramble that we tending to do at the moment. But I think it's important to have these conversations, and we feel like you're our friends, so we can.
We've also got a couple of real ales
waiting for us.
The freezer downstairs that we're going to partake in.
They're really needed.
What have you done for dinner tonight? Something really different.
Yeah, it's like an egg bake with like peppers and mushrooms and onion and fennel and garlic.
It's a Spanishy type
It's like
thing.
and herbs, yeah.
Sounds
herbs.
Herbs.
As you guys say in America. Okay, so the Mother Earth card that comes out says Moonlight Goddess. And it says repressed emotions, healing, reflection. Wow, this is so gorgeous. So it is going into that sort of darker side of ourselves, that dark night of the soul. We all have a shadow side. Part of us can feel, bubbly at times or friendly at times, but we all have that inner shadow that is a little bit darker that we might not show to the world all the time. And
well, like on the last videos we did when you said I used a hose pipe on the money tree.
Yeah, well, exaggeration.
That's not an Elisa trend, exaggeration. Try arguing with that.
It's a figure of speech.
Figure of speech, I shall remember that.
Freedom.
Freedom for hosepipe waterers.
Freedom to say what I want to say. But yeah, this Moonlight Goddess looking at, what's inside. What are we holding back? What are we holding down? Because that is sometimes what causes that anger. You're right, people are so polarized at the moment. That first step in any kind of manifestation work is that law of polarity, understanding how it is used against us. That is a real conspiracy. Advertisement, for example, is used psychologically to make us want that thing.
I love the way you talk about this because I'd never considered this before. Everyone's focused on the law of attraction, but you looked at the polarity, which I think is just brilliant.
It's the base level that it should be taught in schools, in my opinion, not to get too polarized, whether it's politics, whether it's a point of view, whether it's something that you like or don't like.
Does the word politics come from the same Latin derivative of polarized?
Oh, that's a good Yeah, I don't know about that.
Just a thought.
Wow. Well, we'll certainly do some research on that now. Well, thank you so much for joining us for our, ramble today.
Yeah, the ramble. So Ronald and Regina ramble. Hello, Regina. Would you like a ramble with me?
Oh my dear Ronald, don't go there.
Oh, that's a shame.
Maybe later.
Oh, God. Now you know why she has such power over me.
Thank you so much for bearing with us. If you would like to read your daily horoscope, you can find it in the description box beneath this video.
Thank you so much for joining us. God bless. And from the... Oh, thank you so much, Tim. So Tim Pruitt's latest one is We Are the Adorable Team.
Ah, adorable. I love that.
Bless him.
Thank you,
Tim. But from the A group, the A conglomerate, the A
team,
the A
conjunction,
stream, the alpha team. Ooh. Now, somebody came up with alpha.
Yeah, this is the longest goodbye that we've done. So it's goodbye from him.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.